Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Rose Smith from Absolute Soul Secrets, and I've got the amazing and miraculous Diana Rae. And Diana Rae is a psychic that has been with us for many years now, in between travels overseas. It's very exciting. Today we'll be discussing visitations from the other side. Welcome, Diana Rae. Hello.
Hi.
It's great
Thanks
to have
very
you.
much for the lovely intro.
It's great to have you here today. Yes, so how long have you been reading for, Diana Rae?
Oh, gosh. Well, with you, it's been a while. I think probably, I don't know, maybe 8 years, 9 years. I don't know, because I stopped and then I came back. But myself, I'd say about 25 years that I've actually been reading for other people.
Yes, fabulous.
A long time. I can't, I really can't. Time doesn't mean a lot to me. So.
Well, that's probably a good way to be in many respects, because we're so driven by time, all worried about time all the time. So I was interested because you mentioned before that you don't actually worry about anything. How do you do that?
Well, I just think you've got to just move on. If something negative comes, like negative people, stay away from them.
It only takes one to ruin it. And I don't know why,
Yes.
but we tend to focus on the one negative one. Instead of seeing out of 10, there might be one negative. And instead of seeing the 9 really good, positive situations, we see the one negative. So,
Yes.
yes, so that brings me to
Best to avoid people like that.
I absolutely agree, because they drag you down, and just because they're in that doesn't mean we have to be in that.
No, that's right.
Yes, so the topic is visitations from the other side. So it's an interesting way of putting it. And so have you had many visits from spirits or deceased people coming in?
Yes, I get that all the time, but I don't know. Well, the thing is, I don't necessarily see them, but I know who's there. Like, say, when I do readings, I explain to people I do use cards, but I've also got my guides.
Yes.
And I'll often say things to them and I don't know why. And then, and they'll say, oh, that's right. And I think, oh, I would have, because it's coming through me rather than me thinking it myself.
Yes.
But the latest one I had, actually, it was when I moved in here, when I just came back from overseas. And I had nothing because I'd left my good, like jewelry and good stuff here. I didn't take stuff with me, but the rest I'd either sold or given away. So I had to buy everything from scratch. Well, my bedroom, the bed was new, but I had a chest of drawers there, which I bought second hand.
Right.
So I think it was the first or second night I was here, and I rolled over in the bed, and here's this woman looking at me. And I thought, well, who the heck are you? It wasn't like it was like, it was like a solid person, and she looked like she's looking at me like really cranky, like, what are you doing here, And I thought, well, where'd she come from? Anyway, I went to sleep, and then in the morning I kept thinking about it. I thought, she must have owned that chest of drawers, because there's nothing else in the room that, could annoy anybody. I mean, it wasn't her bed, and it was brand new out of the shop, so couldn't be that. So that's the only thing I thought. And I thought I've still got other bits of things, so I had no many more people turn up.
I wonder if she was attached to the chest of drawers or the actual room.
Yeah, it could have been. Well, I asked my neighbour who's been here for 26 years, because there was a lady before me, an Irish lady. She's still alive, though, so it wasn't her. And there was one before her, but I don't know who it was. But it would have been like a long time ago if she ever lived. It could have been over 25 years ago, so I doubt it. I thought it was more the chest of drawers than it. Well, I don't know what else could be.
Yes.
Maybe she just wanted to pop in, but I don't know. And I don't know why she was there, but I know she was cranky with me.
Right, because you moved into her home.
It could have been, yeah.
Maybe
I don't know.
she's attached to the home, or maybe
what she's doing in the bed, though. I mean, get out of the bed. Because I just rolled over and I thought, I've got company, Is this what? I don't know.
And is there the possibility, because I have a lot, when I'm going to sleep, I have a lot of ancestors come in, and just lately I've had my grandfather on my father's side, his father, come in. I never met him. And he came in to this tall, thin man. So this is about 2 weeks ago. He came in, he was just standing there. And I'm like, who are you? And then I just got the sense that it was my paternal grandfather.
Yes.
And he looked like a very stern and hard man. And my father was quite a soft man. And so I think the relationship there might have been quite difficult because they were like
It
cheese
could
and
be.
chalk, you know. So that's a really good point that you bring up about having things in the bedroom, because when you're sleeping, of course, you go through all different states of altered consciousness, don't you? So even you're just trying to get to sleep and there's relatives or who knows who coming in. And so that's a good point, to be careful of what you put in your bedroom. The other night, I wake up, Prince Harry, my Bengal cat, wakes me up often about 4 a.m. because he wants to go out. And the other night he come and jumped all over me, and I sat up and I was patting him on the head, and then there was like this alien there. And it's like, my cat is an alien. So I don't know if he's an alien or if there was an alien attached. So you just don't know. They can just come in. You know, it was out of the blue. I mean, I've had him for, 6 years? Do you think I would know?
I can tell you one about a cat, and this was what happened. This was when I lived in Brisbane, and a dear friend, you know, whom I loved, passed. And anyway, I was walking up the hall, and I felt this like an electric thing on my arm, like a breeze, and I thought, what the hell's that? So anyway, then I went to bed, and I used to sit up and read in bed, and I'm sitting up, and the cat was on the end of the bed, and suddenly the cat looks at the door and starts growling like a dog. And I thought, God, what's wrong with the cat? It was probably about 15 years old at that stage. Anyway, and it kept doing it, and I thought, oh, someone's in the house. Well, all I had was a little back brush like this on the... So I picked it up, and I'm running up, and then I realised that it wasn't a human, like, you know, it wasn't a live person there. So I got back into bed, and I thought, well, who is it? Whoever it was very tall, because, you know, how the height of the ceiling is, or quite high in that house. And the cat was looking at the top of the door. So I thought about it and concentrated, and I knew who it was.
Oh,
it was the same person when I'd gone to a spiritual church in Brisbane. Yes. And there was a lady, well, there was a few there, and we were doing some sort of meditation. This lady said, is your name Diana? And I said, yes. She said, do you know something? And I said, oh, yes. She said, oh, I've just, my God took me to him or something, and he said to tell you that he's waiting for you. And so me being a smart aleck said, well, I won't be there for a while. Like you can catch a bus. And then afterwards, I thought, gee, you're stupid. If you'd shut up, you might have got more information. But I found that's when I'd go there, because another woman told me, oh, there's someone next to you talking to you. And it was, so it's interesting, isn't it, how these things happen?
Yes, so I tend to see them first, and then I'm asking them questions in my mind, but I don't always get an answer. So even though I've got some clairaudience, I'm stronger on the clairvoyance. And so do you have that? Do you see them first and then have to sort of...
I don't. Mine is like a knowing. I can't explain it. I'm surrounded by people all the time. Like, I believe here and the other side is just like a light curtain, and you push it and you're there. I don't think it's a major thing, and I think that we've been here before, and that's happened to me quite a few times overseas.
Yes.
I know different lives I've lived, all of that, but it's all more of a knowledge than anything else. I mean, I do get messages like if something's wrong, like my older son who lives on the Central Coast. This is when he lived in Sydney.
Yes.
And I rang him up and I said, are you all right? And he said, yes, why do you ask? I said, I just thought something was wrong. He said, when did you think that? I said, I don't know, about 2 o'clock or something. He said, oh, yes, well, I had a bit of an accident. And, of course, he always, nothing's very much, you know. Well, what had happened, someone ran on purpose in him on a bike, on a motorbike.
Oh,
so he wasn't just a little accident. Anyway,
wow.
He fixed himself up eventually, but he hurt his shoulder, so that got fixed up. But that's the sort of, that'll happen to me. I get like, it'll be, or look, I get a nice smell too sometimes.
Oh, yes.
And I think, oh, who's that? And mostly I can think, or I'll just think of somebody and then they're there.
Yes.
You know, I get that an awful lot too.
Yes.
But I do see things, but not very much.
Right.
It's more, I don't know how to explain it. I never thought about it. But it's in my family. Well, both my sons have got it, but they deny that they have, but they have. And then my mother told me she didn't have it, but her mother did. And back. So it's
Yes, on the bloodline.
Yeah.
And have you
But
had any experiences like with ancient relatives coming in? You know, so you're saying about you've had visitations from people you don't know, and I talked about my paternal grandfather coming in. And have you ever experienced where you've had ancestors come through from hundreds of years ago? Have you had
yes,
anything like that?
that happened in Italy. I've been there about 3 times in this place called Osteo Antico, which is like old Rome.
Yeah.
And,
I've been there, I think, actually.
well,
Yeah,
have you seen? They've got all the houses. They're still there. They're falling to bits, but they're there. And they also had one place which enthralled my son. He said, "Come and look at this." It was like a pizza place, and they had the little stools like they've got now, and the pictures on the wall, the menu of the fish and everything. I thought, couldn't believe it. So anyway, when I first started doing readings, I used the name Antigone, and I don't know. And then I'm there in Osteo Antico, and I thought, I've been here before, and because that's happened to me before, I know, and I thought, because I knew that I lived there with my father, but we hadn't come there from Greece. We'd come from somewhere else. And I think I figured it out now. I've forgotten there. But anyway, so my son's saying, "Oh, it's great, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, and it's lovely in the afternoon because you get a cool breeze." And he just looked at me, didn't say anything.
like you're living there now.
That nutty woman, she's off again. But it's true. And then I found out that my name was Antigone. So I had this, and that's the name that I chose to know. I mean, I know it's been in a play, I think, or a book or something, Antigone. So, yeah, that was interesting. But I do find that a lot.
Yes.
So, and that was somebody there that I sort of felt I knew really well, which would have gone back hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years, yeah. I find I often say, when I'm talking about London, UK, I often unconsciously say Londinium. And I've done that for decades, that it just comes out of my mouth, oh, Londinium. And it's only probably 5 or 10 years ago that I heard that, of course, it was called Londinium by the Romans.
Oh.
Yeah, so
it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, 1987 was my first trip to the UK, and I was absolutely compelled to go. I had to go. And that was when I started having like past lives and seeing past lives. But when I went there in 1987, and I was absolutely compelled to go, I was walking around the streets of Londinium, and I felt very drawn to Covent Garden. And when I went there, I was looking and I could see like cellophane over the top. I could see this past life, and there was this woman with long dark hair selling flowers, and it was me. And I knew about this woman, and it was like 1648 or sometime like that. I've just forgotten. It might have been 1624, something like that. I've just forgotten now because it was 1987, so it's just a few years ago. So I've had lots of experiences like that when travelling, and especially when I went up to Culloden Moor up in Scotland. And it's a long story I won't bother going into, but yeah, I was there on the battlefield, and it was it made me feel sick, actually. I just about fainted. I was, all the blood and gore. It was pretty gross. Yeah, so it's never a dull moment, is it? There's always things that you can pick up.
I've had the same thing happen when I've travelled too. And what I found when I bought my house in Brisbane, when I went over the bridge, a little bit of a bridge on the road to it, I thought, this is really nice. I really like it here. And then I found out that on my mother's side, an uncle had a sheep farm there. And I thought, and I know where it was, right? So it's things like that happen, then you think, you imagine it or you saw it in a movie or something, but it's not true.
So it doesn't matter how logical people are, you can still get bleed through from the past, and you can still get people coming in, even if you're the most logical person in the world. Sometimes your subconscious just goes into this sort of down sort of mode, and these things just sort of leak in. So never a dull moment.
Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of people just leave it go, but then they're wrong.
They
don't want to go into it. Like you say, some people are nervous or frightened of it or something.
Yes. So it's really interesting hearing about these past lives. And when you're doing readings with people, do you ever get past lives for the people you're reading for?
No, I don't think so. I don't know, but I could do. It depends what their questions are, what they're asking about. But it's
Right.
possible. But I do tell them things which I don't know how I know. Like, they just happen.
Yes.
And it's coming from my guides, for
Yes.
sure.
So it's called claircognizance, when you actually just have the knowing, but you're not necessarily hearing anything or seeing anything.
No, it's just, that's mostly what it's like. Like, I started thinking about one of my brothers who's passed. I mean, I'm the last one left. They've all gone. But, and I was sitting here and I kept thinking about it. I thought, now, why am I thinking about him? It's got to be a reason. Well, it might take me a few days to get the answer, but I will.
Yes.
I'll know why.
Yes.
But they're all very protective.
Yeah, well, it's lovely to know that you're protected from the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got all of our, not just our original family, our family of origin, but all of our ancestors standing back
They're
there
all
too.
Yes.
Anyway, it's been great talking to you today, and it's been a pleasure to have you. And sometime we'll need to get together again and have another chat.
Jolly good. Thank you very much. Been interesting. It's good to know that you can talk about things like this. You can't talk about with everybody, so.
That's right. Okay. Have a great day, Diana.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks,
How
everyone.
do I just...
Bye.
Bye.